This has enabled us to become number one on land, the predator non plus ultra that all other creatures came to fear. In due course, as you have found out in the last video, we hunted most big land animals to extinction. Now what? No big animals meaning no food for us? We still had to eat something. And remember that? Same as pigs, humans are omnivores, not only meat eaters. So humanity turned to a new food source. This. Hello and welcome to this 5th episode of Edo Ergo Sum, I am what I eat. This and the following 6 episodes are all dedicated to the agricultural revolutions that took place between 5 and 13,000 years ago. Revolutions that have had pretty widespread implications on who we are today, at least compared to who we were before as humans. We start this mini-series with the first revolution, the one in the Middle East. It started with this. Okay, it is time for a disclaimer now. This is not a collection of ancient grains like Einkorn or emmer cultivated in the Middle East by our forebears, but simply grain that grows wild in my backyard every summer. It is a fair guess, however, that the grain consumed by prehistoric man did not have a nutritional value that was much higher than this. So, compared to a mammoth, or ox, forest elephant or reindeer consumed by prehistoric man, grass does not really look like much. A thin stem, half a human high, a few slender leaves to produce energy through photosynthesis, plus some hairy grains on top for the next generation. All put up in a few weeks in spring after some days of rain. But the few grains are the key, as they contain not only the plant's genetic material but also the endosperm, a sac of flour that is there not for our pleasure, but to provide energy for the new seed to grow before it becomes an energy producer itself by having leaves. Enter Einkorn, a member of the grass family, and an early relative of one of humanity's most important food plants today, wheat. Einkorn and wheat are both grasses, as are many others used in the Neolithic Agricultural Revolution. Why, you may ask? This is because grasses are a successful and widespread plant species that have colonized every corner of the earth, even semi-deserts or polar archipelagos such as Svalbard. They owe their revolutionary success to storing part of the plant underground, the rhizome, and coming up, the plant we can see and touch, only to produce energy or to create a new generation. In nature, grasses have to compete with other plants, mainly trees. And when there is enough water, a long enough growing season and not too much wind, trees generally have the upper hand. Take away any of these 3 conditions and grasses start to dominate the landscape. One of the Earth's regions where trees struggle to grow is the Middle East. Its semi-arid climate, with some wintry showers but long, hot summers, makes it impossible for them to survive in big enough numbers. Not so for grasses. They can use the wintry rains to soak up water, grow when it gets warmer and then simply wither away, a condition we call ripening, needing no more water or food input. What Einkorn lacked in size compared to a mammoth, it therefore more than made up in numbers to be considered a valuable food source for humanity. The climate conditions of the Middle East make it therefore likely that grasses dominated the landscape long before humans started to cultivate them to collect their grains. In the Middle East, as everywhere else where agricultural revolutions took place, humans did not start this cultivation out of the blue. They collected these grasses and used them as food long before they started to cultivate them themselves. Why do we think we know this? This is because the most important grain product, bread, seems to predate the earliest agriculture by at least 2000 years. The oldest proof of bread making has been found in the desert of northeastern Jordan. and dates back to about 14,500 years, so about 2,000 years more than the dawn of the Neolithic Agricultural Revolution in the same area. The bread in question was not baked in the desert but in the grassland, as the area, the Middle East and the Sahara, was more humid then. This was during the last ice age than it is now. Of course, humans ate these grains before they started to cultivate them. After all, grains are part of the diet of chimpanzees, remember? But what we have here is not simply grain eating, but the consumption of a specific part of the grain, the starch of the endosperm, which we all consume when we go to the bakery to buy bread or to the supermarket to buy pasta. We call this starch flour. The consumption of starch, in contrast to the consumption of whole grains, which chimpanzees still eat, is apparently also much older than the agricultural revolution. There exist residues on rocks in Europe used for pounding plants to extract the starch from the grains that are 30,000 years old. Okay, this does not prove that bread has been baked, nor that the starch has been eaten, nor that the residues were a result of human activity. But we can rule out any natural causes, such as some stones having fallen on some grasses by accident. It is however difficult to imagine why humans, who else, should have gone through all this trouble of extracting the starch without afterwards also eating the result. After all, starch spray to strengthen the collar of a shirt has definitely not been in use 30,000 years ago, since there were no shirts then. It is logical that the use of starch as a food source predates agriculture, and that this should have happened on a large scale first in a region with a ready amount of harvestable plant material. Same as with the control of fire, it is likely that the development of agriculture was a gradual process, with first returning to the same area to harvest wild grains, to finding out that if you spread some of the grains on the ground, you would find them again the year after, to actively doing the whole process from sowing to harvesting grain. The grass in question in the Middle East was Einkorn, a grain sort that is still planted today. You can buy Einkorn wheat in specialist food stores, and in some bakeries, Einkorn bread is an expensive specialty. Einkorn is also still used for dishes like bulgur, but for our regular bread, it has long been crossed with other grasses, also from the Middle East, to produce first emmer wheat, the dominant wheat of ancient Egypt, and then the wheat we know today. As we will see in a later video, that wheat, our current one, has far superior qualities, among them a much higher yield than poor old Einkorn, as crossbreeding has enabled the result to receive positive attributes from all three parent grasses. The revolution in the Middle East did not end with the production of a single grain for consumption, of course. Once the idea had formed that you could domesticate the grass for consumption, it did not take long to apply the same principle to other plants. Apart from Einkorn, other cereals like emmer or barley, and vegetables such as flax, peas, chickpeas or lentils, have all been domesticated in the Middle East. The region did however domesticate something else as well: animals. How this happened and what implications this has had on our way of life, I have to show you in my next video. Thank you for watching this episode of Edo Ego Sum, I am what I eat. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, this would help other people find it on YouTube. If you want to receive more videos like this one, also about the present or future of our relationship with food, consider subscribing to the channel. Now back to you, what do you think? How important has the agricultural revolution in the Middle East that brought us bread as a result been for our development? Have we really, again, changed what we eat and therefore who we are? Like when we switched our diet from fruit to meat? Please leave your remarks and questions in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. I really appreciate your input. Bye for now. Hopefully to the next video when the question is: has the domestication of animals changed who we are?